to you briefly about the May 24th card in Hammond, Indiana, and also at the same time talk to you about this upcoming card, June 21st at the International Amphitheater here in Chicago. I don't have a complete card to announce to you. I can say that the Chain Gang has been signed. Bob Luce is looking for a suitable opponent, tag team, to meet them. And Carpentier is signed on this card. Those are the only two names that I have verified. But that's Saturday, June 21st at 8:30 at the International Amphitheater. And I do suggest that you make your plans now and make them quite affirmatively to attend this card. That's on the 21st. Let's talk now about the 24th just for a second in Hammond, Indiana, May 24th. Snyder and Martinez versus Comrade Nick and Comrade Boris. We have Mitsu Arakawa against Poffo, Angelo Poffo. Prince Pullens versus Tokyo Joe. You should like that match. That should be a good one. And Sandy Acosta meets Dirty Don. That's the preliminary match at 8:30, May 24th, next Saturday night. And Hammond Civic Center again hosts another fine one. All right? More about all these a little bit later on. Right now I want to have a couple of words with a very good friend of mine, the man who makes all of these cards possible. He's the promoter and general manager of the Chicago Wrestling Club here in Chicago. He also promotes and makes match all over the Midwest and is very instrumental in having most of these wrestlers arrive at contracts in other areas under other promoters. And I'm speaking of our very good friend Bob Luce. Nice to have you back again. And gee, I don't know what to talk to you about. We talked about the Hammond card last time.
Well, let me say this now. Incidentally, since we talked about Mr. Clean, I've been talking to a couple of prominent weightlifting people, and they explained to me that that bench curl is the he does is the most difficult.
Curl.
Right, is the most difficult thing to do of all the arm
exercises.
Well,
you know why?
Well, because you got to do it with your arm, and you
That's
can't.
Right, and nothing else.
You can't give it that old
the swing. Right.
I just wanted the fans out there to know this because I've had some letters from people saying, is it really that tough? And I just want you to know that just try it.
You can see how
Put something on your bench and try, try to do that. That's all I ask you, fans.
Yeah.
Now, about this Hammond card, Chuck.
Saturday.
Yes. As you know, Comrade Borislav and Comrade Nikolai are former champions. They now say that they're the international tag team champions, which does not include the world title, of course, but because they are Russians and because they have defeated all opposition, so they tell me, they say now that if they beat Snyder and Louis Martinez, Martinez being the Mexican heavyweight champion, Snyder a former world champion, a former U.S. champion, that they will then claim the world title.
What do you say?
Well, I say this, that I want the fans out there to buy their tickets early. That's what I say, because I predict we're going to have one tremendous card in Hammond with this main event. And let me tell you again, fans, where to get the tickets. C&C Bail Bonds in Hammond at 6011 Calumet Avenue. Go in and see Sam Miller or his good friend, Sam's good friend, I have his name right here. I have to write this down. Pete Kennelly. Pete's got a young boy that's 12 years old, and he's a real fan. And I don't know Pete as well as I know Sam. I've known Sam for now 3 years. The 3 years we've been in Hammond, and I found him to be a wonderful guy and a good man. And just tell Sam that Bob Luce told you to come in and buy the ticket. 6011 Calumet Avenue. And one other thing about the amphitheater, the next show at the amphitheater. I'm going to have the Chain Gang there, fans, and I've got a big surprise for you. I've contacted Snyder and Gagne. I've contacted Dick the Bruiser and Mr. Clean. I've contacted Dick the Bruiser and the Crusher, because you see, Bruiser goes both ways, you see.
Right.
But I have a feeling about this Mr. Clean. I want to tell you, I have a feeling about this man. I don't know. I'm saying right here on television that this, I have a feeling about this man, especially when you come to a guy like the Dillingers, who need to be wiped from the face of the earth, of course, and to get clean in there with the dirt, like they keep making the jibe on TV. They're always calling him Mr. Dirt. Well, I think Mr. Dirt, Mr. Clean, would love to get in and clean him up, wipe him clean, so to speak.
That's great.
And Dick the Bruiser, of course, fans, if you'll notice, his muscle has been torn, went up into his arm because he got clipped in a game in Green Bay. But let me tell you, the other guy got a broken leg out of it, so that's not so bad. But Dick the Bruiser and Mr. Clean with those forearms going for him against guys like the Chain Gang.
Right.
I can't see nothing but El Squasho all the way.
Two of the biggest men, certainly power-wise, in that ring.
I think they'll be popping their heads all night, fans. You know, can't you just see that, you know?
You're great.
Really. I have a feeling about that man, Mr. Clean. But I'll see you in Hammond this Saturday night,
That's
fans.
right.
And this
The
is the big
21st
one.
now we look
Right.
forward to.
This
right?
is
The
the
next
international tag team elimination bout of all time.
All right, good. Bob, thank you very, very much. Great guy. And a great card, too, for you fans in Hammond. Of course, all of you at the International Amphitheater the last time is May 17th. You remember what a whale of a card you had up there. And so this card on the 21st at International Amphitheater could very well be as outstanding. Now, listen, don't play down this Mr. Clean, Dick the Bruiser thing mentally, because when you put two of the most powerful men in the ring together on the same team, there can be nothing but trouble brewing for the opposite team. All right? Now, I want to take just an opportunity here, if I can, to sort of, as a commentator, as a sports commentator in wrestling, to analyze the wrestling fan here in the Chicago, Hammond, Northern Indiana, South Milwaukee area. I think you have done what so many areas around the nation would like to do, and that is really put together a nucleus of a great, excited fan, a fan who is as loyal to wrestling as Italians are to spaghetti and meatballs and lasagna. I think that you have really set together the success story of wrestling right here in the Chicago area, because the word is getting around all over the nation that Chicago has become the world's great wrestling mecca. It always has been the home of championship wrestling, but it proves it even farther now at the box office. We'll talk more later. More wrestling follows in a moment.